Today, we'll have to do with a minimum of a commentary because there's a lot of sentences here, and not a lot of time because it's Hanukkah, and I'm going soon to an army base in order to speak to them and play guitar and etc. Make them happy. And the whole day I've been busy, and I got a lot of excuses and etc. So here we go. Now we are on the very strange story of Josef and his brothers. The brothers, as you remember last week's Torah portion, they hated Joseph. They threw him into a pit full of scorpions. Then they took him out and they sold him to Yishmaelim, and they sent him to the Midyanim. And finally, he got sold into Egypt. And in Egypt, he got bought over there in the house of Potiphar. And Potiphar's wife brought false charges against him, and he was put into prison. And miraculously, he got out of prison. He interpreted the dreams of the wine minister who had been thrown into prison, that he was going to get out. And sure enough, the wine minister did get out. And 2 years later, the wine minister remembered what happened with Joseph. The reason he remembered was because the Paro had these two weird dreams that nobody knew how to interpret in a way that satisfied his Paro's, he says, his upset heart. So they pulled Joseph out of the prison. He interpreted the dream properly, and the Paro said, "You're going to be the king. You're number two. You're going to do everything. The only thing you're going to have, you won't be called king. I'll be called the king, but you're going to do everything." So Joseph said, "Good. What did he tell the king to do?" He said, "There's going to be 7 years of plenty," which is no big novelty in Egypt because there was always plenty over there. But don't eat all the food like all the other years. Save up the food, even from the first year. Start saving up the food. Even though everybody's going to think you're crazy, you're saving up food for, what are you saving it for? The first year, and then the next year is going to be also good. So everybody's going to say, what are you saving up food for? We could have eaten, we have enough, and then the third year is also going to be good. And the fourth year, fifth year, what are you saving up food for? What are you, some sort of paranoiac? You think there's going to be a catastrophe in the world? What are you hoarding food for? What's going? Finally, after 7 years, says Joseph, there's going to be a famine, and there's not going to be any food left, right? Unless you save it up, unless you save up the food. So that's what Paro does. He starts saving up food, and everybody else, they get the hint. Maybe Paro was right, and they save up food, but their food, their grains all rot, and Paro's food stays good because this is the advice of Joseph. And now everybody's coming to Egypt, and they're selling everything they've got, and they're buying food from Joseph. And also among the people that come are the brothers and the father of Joseph. That's going to be next week. They're all going to come now. The father is also going to come now. That's next week. But this week is going to be Joseph is coming. The brothers are coming down, and Joseph recognizes them. And he realizes this, the dream that he dreamt way back in the beginning of Parshas, the last week's Torah portion. And Joseph decides to be cruel with his brothers because he wants to give them forgiveness for the terrible thing they did. They thought they were killing him. So Joseph, he puts them all in prison. And then he lets them all out after 3 days in prison. And he says, okay, one of you brothers, you 10, right? Now, Benjamin is still back there with his father. His father doesn't want to send Benjamin because he thinks that Joseph must be dead, even though he feels deep down in his heart that it's not true. But so he doesn't want to send Benjamin. That's only 2 sons from Rachel. And that was the main reason that he even got married, Yaakov. He got married because he thought he was getting married to Rachel. And instead, it ended up that they tricked him, etc. So anyway, so Joseph is gone, so he thinks, and he doesn't want to give Benjamin. And Joseph gets hard with the brothers. He gets harsh. And he says, you're a bunch of spies. I know you're a bunch of spies. And they say, oh, no, we're not spies. We're 12 brothers. One of our brothers, we don't know where he is, and the other one's back home with the father. So Joseph says, oh, you've got a little brother home with your father, huh? Says, yeah, little brother, okay. If you don't bring that little brother here, then forget it. You're not getting any more food. And not only that, one of your brothers is going to stay here as a surety. Then your little brother you have to bring to me, and then you will verify your words, and you won't die. In other words, you won't die from hunger. And they did so. And each one said, okay, now Joseph sitting, he's listening to this, but he's pretending he's speaking to them through a translator. He's not speaking Hebrew. He's speaking Egyptian, and there's a translator standing between them. One of his sons is standing between them. They don't know and he's translating it to Hebrew. Really, Joseph understood all the languages in the world, it says. Okay. So the brothers spoke to one another, and they said, in Hebrew, they thought Joseph wasn't understanding. We're guilty. Alachenu, on our brother, on Joseph, Asher, Ra'inu tzaras nafsho, we saw that he was in pain, he was in distress. When he pleaded to us, don't throw me in the pit full of scorpions and snakes. Don't sell me into captivity. But lo shamanu, we didn't listen. Therefore, ba'aleinu hatzoras, therefore this terrible thing came upon us. Vayan Ruvain, and Ruvain said, Hello, amarti lechem, I told you, al techatu b'yeled, don't sin with the boy. But lo shamata, but you didn't listen to me. And God is going to demand his blood. They think that Joseph is dead. And I would like to go through these explanations that they're very, very beautiful, but I can't because we don't have time. Yes, tomorrow I want to do the after. We'll see what we can do today, okay? They didn't know that Joseph understood ki melitz between them because there was the translator between them. Right? The translator between them. Who was the translator? It was one of Joseph's sons. This is Manasseh. Manasseh and Ephraim. Joseph had two sons, Manasseh and Ephraim. Eventually, they become two big tribes. So they said, HaChaim says they didn't understand because there was a translator between them. So everything else, so they figured that obviously he must not understand what he was saying. Or maybe we can say that because this translator was between them, so therefore the translator lo haya lahagi lo. Because there was a translator there, so they didn't say this to Joseph. They figured they'll say it to the translator, and the translator will tell him. In any case, Joseph did hear directly what they're saying, and he cried. He turned away from them and he cried. But Yashav, and he returned to them and he said, okay, take it, Shimon. Right? Shimon was the second son of Leah, the second oldest. And he put him in prison in front of their eyes. Took him in prison and put him in front of the eyes. He says, what does he mean he put him in prison in front of their eyes? He put him in prison. What do you mean in front of their eyes? He says, no. He only put him in prison, says Rashi, for appearance. Even Shiyatsu, as soon as they left, Hoti gave him food and he gave him everything. He treated him very nicely. Joseph went and he filled up their bags with grain, and they paid for it, but he gave the money back, each one, and he also gave them food for the traveling. We're traveling. says the reason that he also gave them food for traveling, so that they shouldn't eat when they were going back, they shouldn't eat what they bought. Because he told them that he was giving them food for the journey, free, so that they would bring their brother back, because they said he wanted to let them know that I'm your friend. I haven't got any intention to do you any evil. And here's the proof. I'm giving you a sandwich. Everybody gets sandwiches for the way. You don't have to open up the bags. Anyway, so there they did. They put all the bags, these big bags of grain, on their donkeys, and they left. They didn't deny, it says the HaChaim, they didn't delay at all, just at the time at all. Just immediately they put it on their donkeys and they left. They didn't rest up or anything. Okay, however it is, they decided they would open up their bags. Why did they have to open up their bags? They had enough food. They didn't have to open up the bags. It says, who opened up the bag? Vayiftach ha'echad et sako. One of them opened up the bag. Who opened up the bag? So this was Levi. That Levi, he was alone from Shimon, because Shimon and Levi, they were always together. That's why it was called echad, because he was alone. He felt alone because Shimon was his partner and everything. It was his partner. They killed all the city of Shechem. So they went to, it says one of them opened up his sack to give food to his donkey. The Malone is like the place where they stayed overnight, and he saw his money, and there it is at the opening. It says at the opening of his bag, it says Amtachado. This is the sack. He saw there's the money over there. So what's this? He said to his brother, "Hey, somebody gave my money back. Here, it's in the bag." All of a sudden, each one looked in their bag, and they saw there it is. It's all their money. It says Vayetze libam, vayachardu, and they got very scared. He's going to accuse us of stealing. He says, and they said, Mazos elukim lanu, what has God done to us? Lavienu, to bring us to this terrible thing. Shelo hushav el litalinu, that the money, somebody put the money in our bags, and Josef is going to accuse us of stealing it. Right? This is terrible. What's going to be? In any case, they're already more than half of the way back. They went to Yaakov, their father, in the land of Canaan, and they told him everything that happened. And they said, Davra ish Adonai Oretz, the man who is the master of the land, Joseph. They didn't know it's Joseph. He spoke to us very, very harshly. And he said that we're spies. And they said, and we told him that no, we're honest people. We're not spies. We're 12 brothers from one father, and from 12 brothers from one father. One of us is not here, Joseph. They thought he was dead. The smallest one, we told this king, who happened to be Joseph, they told the king that we've got a little brother, and he's with our father in the land of Canaan. And the king over there, the king, that he was very severe, he said, oh, now I'll know if you're really telling the truth. Bring your little brother back here. Take all this food, right? Go and bring your little brother over here. And we'll bring your little brother to me, your little brother to me. This is what Joseph said. And then I'll know that you're not spies and that you're speaking the truth. Then I'll give your brother back to you, Shimon, that I took him in prison. And then you'll be free. I'll believe in you, and you can. Tischaro means that you can go around. You can go around the city. You can go around the town, the country, anywhere you want to. You'll be free to go. You have a pass to. That's what businessmen do. They go around and you can sell things. I guess people needed certain things, whatever they had to. Now, this is all they're telling the father, right? They're telling Yaakov. And it came out that And behold, they were emptying their bags, and each person had his money in his bag. And they saw these like money pouches, and they and their fathers, and again, so what happened? First of all, Levi opened up his bag and he got scared, but they didn't open their bags yet. Now they're back home with Yaakov, and they open up their bags and they see that every person has his money in the bag. Vayomer, and Yaakov said, wow, I can't keep quiet about this anymore. You've made me shekaltem, in other words, you've made me into a, what do you want to call it, that I've lost my sons. My sons are died. In Hebrew, that's called lishkol banim. Lishkol banim means, God forbid, your children die. A person's children die in his time. That's called shkol. It says, you've made me into a mourner. Joseph is not here. Shimon is not here. And now you want to take Benjamin, right? V'hayu chalona, and it'll be it'll be just a disaster. I'll be the that you say I won't be able to exist. It says Alaya Kalana. It'll be like, to me, it'll be what is it? Destruction. Reuven said to his father, listen, I'll tell you, listen, Dad, we got to go back there and get food. It's the only place where we can get food in the world. There is no food. You know what? You take my two sons, Reuven said, you take my two sons and you can kill them if I don't bring Shimon back to you and Benjamin. Give Benjamin to me and I promise I'll return to you. Because it's a pretty stupid thing. I mean, what's he saying? I'll kill my two sons for, I mean, what is Yaakov going to get out of that? Two more sons get killed, two of his grandsons. But the point is, Judah wants to say that, listen, guys, I'm taking responsibility for this whole thing. I really feel bad about it. I also have my sons. I'll watch over Shimon just like I'm watching over my own two sons. Shimon and Benjamin, I'm taking Benjamin, just like my own two sons. Yaakov said back, sorry, you didn't convince me. My son Benjamin is not going to go down because his brother is already dead and he's alone. He's alone remains. In other words, the main reason I had all of you was because I thought I was going to have, that your mother was Rachel, and they tricked me. Your mother was Leah. So you go. So the one I really want was Joseph and Benjamin. Joseph is not not here, and now you want to take Benjamin from me. If you take and something happens bad, my last days will be spent in misery, and I will go down to Sheol, to the grave. Sheol also means the grave. I'm not going to give you. Okay, but the hunger gets worse. And just as everyone's finished eating all the food that they brought to Egypt, and he said, okay, go back and down, get some more food. He says, what happened? Why did they wait so long? Yaakov thought that maybe why would something bad happen to Benjamin? Because the brothers, they would kill him. They thought that maybe the brothers wanted to kill Benjamin just the same way that they did to Joseph, from jealousy. So it says, I'm putting him into your hands. I put Joseph into your hands, and it was the worst. It's like giving the cat to protect the milk. You know, the worst thing. Yehuda said, listen, the man told us, He'id banu. The man, he's talking about Joseph. He said, you're not going to see my face unless you bring your little brother with you. You're not going to see him. You have to bring him. If that you do, this is what Joseph, Yehud is relating to his father. This is what Joseph told him. If you bring your brother with you, then we should go down and let's buy food. But if not, we don't take Benjamin. So there's no reason to go down there because the man said to us, don't come without your little brother with you. And Yisrael said, Yisrael is Yaakov, right? Why are you doing this terrible thing to me? Why did you tell the person that you still have a little brother? You didn't have to open up your mouth. Who told you that you have to tell him that you have a little brother? Yehuda says back, listen, the man interrogated us about ourselves, about our family. And he said, is your father still alive? Do you have a brother? And we told him everything. We were just being honest. Because you'll read Al-Pi Devrim Elu, Hayadua Neda Ki Yomar Horido. Did we know that he was going to demand that we should bring our brother? We were just telling him what our family is. We'd never thought that he would say, bring your brother also down. Yehuda said to Yisrael, his father, send Benjamin with me and let's go and we'll live and we won't die. Also you, and also our children. Shenichye. Here Rashi says that this is a small prophecy because the fact is that when Yaakov went down to Egypt and he saw Joseph there, as he became alive, it enlivened him. It says Vayechi. That's going to be next week's Torah portion, Vayechi. Not next week, the week after next. Next week is Vayigash. He says, what's the problem? If we stay here, for sure, we're all going to die. If you send, you're right. You've got a just worry, Yaakov, father. If we go down, maybe something's going to bad happen to Benjamin. Could be, yes. But if we stay here, for sure something's bad's going to happen to Benjamin. That's going to happen to all of us. We're all going to die. The Kli Yakar says, anytime where it says that we will live and we won't die, it's always talking about this world and the next world. And he gives a whole big explanation. The main thing is that if we don't make an effort to go down, so then we've brought sin on our own selves. We've killed ourselves. So if we stay here, then we're going to die in this world for sure. And we're going to die in the next world as well, right? In heaven, because we sinned on our own. We caused our own death. There's no food anywhere else. On the other hand, if we go down, so maybe we'll all die. Could be, but at least we're making an effort, right? We're doing something, we're making it. Says Joseph, Yehuda says to his father, Yaakov, Anochi Arveno, I will be a surety, I guarantee, from my hand you can tavakshenu. I am the only one responsible. If I don't bring it to you and bring Benjamin back to you, then it'll be a sin on me for all of the days. Because if we didn't delay, we would have been able to come back already twice. We could have gone and come back and gone and come back. In Chabad, they made this. They use the sentence. They use a sort of a metaphoric way. Lulei is the letters of Elul. That's the month of preparation before Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Lulei. In the month of Elul, you have to eat mameh. You have to delay, and then you can do two types of tshuva, right? Two types of repentance for God: lower tshuva, upper tshuva. Okay. Yisrael said to their father, if so, do like this. Take some of the fine fruits of the land of Israel, a little bit of tsori, a little bit of davash, honey, nochos, lot, anyway, these botnim and shkedim, and with these different types of fruits and different types of dainties, and take a double portion of money, and the money that Joseph gave back to you, and also new money. And you can say, listen, maybe it was a mistake. Maybe it was a mistake that the money was here. And meanwhile, your brother Benjamin take and go and return him, and then you can all go back to the ish, to the person, right? Because maybe you'll make him happy by this gift that you're giving to him. and may God give you mercy in front of this person, and he'll give you our brother back, Shimon, and also Benjamin. So here it says, Rashi says that this is, it says your brother Acher, your other brother, other brother, and Benjamin. So it says your brother is Shimon, Benjamin's Benjamin. Who's the other brother? What's the other brother? So he says this is a Ruach HaKodesh. This is a spirit of holiness came into him, and he's including Joseph also. Maybe he'll bring back Joseph. And it says what's going to be if I add shovcham until you return, then I will feel as though you're all gone, right? That I've lost you all. But just as have lost already Joseph and Shimon, so also it'll be as though I've lost Benjamin, because I don't know what's going to happen. So therefore, I don't want to be broken by bad news. As far as I go, as soon as you walk out that door, the whole thing is lost. But what are we going to do? We have no choice. You're right. We're all going to die for sure. They took this gift and the double portion of money and Benjamin, and they went out to Egypt, and they stood in front of Joseph. Okay, what's going to happen now? We'll have to do this tomorrow. But it's going to be Joseph is going to do another trick on them. Joseph, he sees Benjamin, he sits them all. Okay, let's do this tomorrow, and we'll also do the Haftorah. It's the Haftorah of Shabbat. Rani B'Simchi Matzion we'll do that for tomorrow. It's one of the prophecies of one second, Isaiah, right? Isaiah. Give me a minute. Let me not jump to conclusions here. Excuse me. There it is. No, it's not here. Here it is. No, wrong I am. This is from Zechariah, the prophet of Zechariah, one of the last of the prophets. It was in the Second Temple. And here he talks about also, because the Haftorah of Chanukah, he talks about the vision that God appointed him, gave him a vision, and also showed him a menorah. It says a menorah. So we'll learn about that also tomorrow. We'll finish this week's Torah portion. We'll see. We'll do as much as we can. What can we do? We can't do any more than we can. We're going to see that Joseph gives them all back. He gives them Shimon back. They go back with Benjamin, and he plays another trick with them. He puts his cup, his magic divining cup, wine cup, in the bag of Benjamin. And they all leave, and he sends his policemen after them, and they stop them and say, hey, someone stole the cup. Whoever stole the cup is going to be my slave. And they checked, and there it was. Benjamin has it. Now they think, well, what's going to be? Our father was going to go crazy now that Benjamin has not got the cup. It is not going to be brought back. The cup was in his, who put it there? How could he know to put it there? What's it going to be? And they're all going berserk. And that's how this Torah portion ends. It ends with all of them standing in front of Joseph, and Joseph saying, Benjamin's going to stay with me, and you're a bunch of the cheaters and liars. Get out of here. I don't want to see you anymore. And Benjamin is staying by me. He's going to be in prison. And they're thinking, whoa, what's going to be, And that's going to be next week's Torah portion by Yigash, that Yehuda approaches Joseph and threatens him, begs him, and please let him go, and threatens him, and etc. And then next week, Joseph breaks down and he says, it's me, I'm Joseph, your brother. You haven't seen me for 30 years? You haven't seen me? Well, here I am. Right now I'm your brother. You haven't seen me for 13 years? You haven't seen me. And here I am, and all of them, they all go crazy, they all go berserk. All of a sudden, suddenly, in 1 second, all of the whole entire situation turns around. but we'll find that next week. So tomorrow, God willing, we'll try to finish this, and we'll do the Haftorah of this week. Have a good day with Mashiach now. Chanukah Sameach. Have a happy Chanukah, everybody.